Hey, it's Drew Neiser with another Tuesday tip. It's a particularly interesting year to be talking about budgeting. How much money do you put in if search doesn't work anymore? What do you do? Where do you spend that money? How do you drive band? Lots of questions for budgeting. So first up, Julie Kaplan, give us a tip on budgeting in this new world of generative AI and stuff.
Okay, well, it's AI agnostic budget tip, but make sure that before you begin budgeting in earnest, that you understand what problems finance needs to solve for, understand what they're looking for, what their pain points are, and address them when you have the conversation with them. And then you can have a more meaningful conversation about what investments you want to make in marketing.
And I am assuming when we're talking about that, one of the problems they have is how am I going to make this financial target? And so
Right,
what you're really talking about there is knowing they have a financial target, what role does marketing play in helping them get there?
right.
And I guess that means putting the presentation in language that the CFO can understand.
Right, and acknowledges that you understand what pressure points
Right.
she's dealing with, right? What conversation she needs to have to support a marketing budget. Without that, it's just an easy no for them to make.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, Andrew Cox Forrester. Andrew, what's your tip?
My tip is that with your budgeting, start by aligning to your top priorities. Too often we start with the budget that we had last year or a budget that mirrors our existing org chart and you try and evenly cut things. Don't do that. Start with what the priorities are for the year ahead and then make sure those priorities are properly aligned with the rest of the business. If you're aligning on something that the sales organization doesn't agree with, your RDR organization isn't aligned to, or your product organization, or wherever it might be, you're going to run into problems. So make sure it's top priorities and those priorities are aligned across the business.
Yeah, we had Craig Moore with us from Forrester, and the light bulb really went off when he talked about how people often budget by department and if they have to cut, go
Mhm.
to each department. And that just suddenly, right, that is not the way to go. And so you can't do it by budgeting by department. Okay, Marca Armstrong from Sensera. Marca, one budgeting tip.
So double clicking on what both Andrew and Julie said. So agree with both of those things wholeheartedly. And I would add, be brave, challenge what you've done in the past, right? Rip the Band-Aid off on things that maybe you've done because they've felt good, whether it's, trade publications or what have you, and put some dollars into some things that perhaps you think you want to do, but you're not quite sure about. There might be some unfound reward there. So just be brave about trying some new things. I think 2026 is going to change the landscape for all of us who are in the marketing function.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I love that. And like, if you can somehow or other hide 5 to 10% of your dollars and get it into experiments, those little pilots that you're running towards the end of the year or next year could be the big opportunities for 2026. All right, if you're a B2B CMO who can share, care, and dare with the best of them, do yourself a favor. Check out CMOHuddles.com. We're having conversations like this almost every day. I'm Drew Neiser. That's your Tuesday tip. Peace out.